Hello, everyone. This is a little guide of everything you kind of need to know in Twisted, a storm chasing game that I just love. It's a fun game. Alright, first we're going to start with these top icons. We'll get to that later. That's different. We're going to go through each one of them individually. So starting from the far right, we have the Roblox tab. All these. These are the Game Pass. Here's some game. These are the Game Passes. These are the donations. And these are the money. All these costs, you can hover over them. They'll tell you what it is. Some things like 2 times income, simple, infinite fuel, simple. I have some of these. I personally have 2 times income, infinite, starter pack, National Weather Service, and Skywarn. I do not have these. If I would buy one, if I had to choose a few that I would buy personally, infinite fuel and 2 times. Infinite fuel because it's just amazing, and 2 times because you can invest money. Right. Now this button is the radar button. This helps you go to the radar, which I'll talk about in a second. Now you can also just do this by pressing M if you're on keyboard, but if you're on mobile, which I don't think, no, there's no mobile version, never mind. Yeah, that's the radar. This is a little personal tab. On the left, you have a convoy tab. Basically, anyone in the server you can invite and they'll create a convoy which will help share money, which if you gain money then everyone in your convoy earns money. It's basically a money sharing system. This is the job tab. There's 4 jobs. There's civilian and storm chaser. These two have no they have they have no effect on the game. They're just simple things. These two are Game Pass. National Weather Service employee allows you to choose what you look like for a second, and you also get assessments, which if there's storm damage, you can assess. Then there's the emergency services, which itself is a Game Pass. I do not have emergency services. You could basically, if a storm hits homes or stuff, you might see NPCs either dead or on the ground, and if you're EMS, you can help. This is the home tab. Now it doesn't do anything on by itself, but if I just go over here, it has 2 prompts once you get a home. Just click here. You can unlock it, you can lock it, or you can sell your home. Alright. Now this is the most important tab right here. This is what's called Thermos. You see a 3-day thing, you can see a little refresher that enhances. Now there are only a few risks. There's Thunderstorm, which will be abbreviated TSTM. There is Marginal, which will be marginal. There is Slight, which will be, yeah, that. There's Enhance, which you see right there. Then there's Moderate, and then there's High. These are the ones you're going to see. Now, Thunderstorm will be very light green. Marginal will be a bit of a darker green. Slight will be a light yellow. Enhance, as you can see, is more of a beige, dark brown yellow. Moderate is red, and High is pink. These are the only ones they associate. So the pinker, the higher, you get the point. Now, here's your wind direction. You can see that storms will be appearing northeast. Oh, there you go. Yeah, they will be moving northeast. However, once a tornado touches down, they can sometimes shift and move different directions. Now, here's some kind of stuff. Obviously, you got your current temps, which is currently what's happening, and the forecasted temps, which is what the day is happening. There's 2 terms to learn with this. There's underperform and overperform. Underperform is when everything does not get to forecasted levels. Like this might get to 5,500, that's underperformance. And this might get to 8.7, that's still underperformance. Now if it gets to forecasted as in like 103.85, there's no term for that, it's just forecasted. Overperform is when all of these get above forecasted, or in the case of humidity, below forecasted. Low humidity is good, I'll talk about that in a second. Dew point cannot go above 85, it just happens. Okay, so temperature, obviously temperature, dew point, lapse rate. Lapse rate is basically, if you look it up on Google, it's change of temperature with altitude. Like, so every kilometer it changes by 8.87 Celsius. humidity is humidity. Now, there's one thing. If humidity gets above 75%, that means the tornadoes are likely to be rain wrapped. If it's above 85%, it's guaranteed rain wrap. A rain wrap tornado is when a tornado just has an entire, there's some rotation, is when a tornado just has like a green kind of circle around it, concave around it. And then there's CAPE. CAPE is instability in the atmosphere. The higher it is, the better. You have to learn all of these. Oh, as you can see, keep refreshing. Nope, thermos underperformed. This is known as the thermos cap, and this is known as the thermos cap. This happens once everything stops. There's 2 points in the day in which the thermos grows and shrinks. It's around 7 to 8 a.m. Thermos will jump a few thousand in order to properly work, in order to help the people. See some big storm over there. And then at around 10 to 11 is when CAPE will start dropping and humidity will go up. Alright, now we're going to go on to these. Now there's two things. There's dealership, warehouse. EMS, it's again the Game Pass. I'll start with dealership. Now there are currently six companies you can buy some from. Now the Chevy 545, this is your standard. Everyone will get this. This is a free vehicle. And then you can put it in the garage and you can attach stuff. There's the mesonet, and then there's the lift kit. The mesonet will basically show you, let me spawn it here, the mesonet will basically show you what the current wind speeds are, and the lift kit, okay, there's one thing you gotta know before I talk about the lift kit. Cars in this game work better on roads. Do not drive on dirt. Or grass. My bad, grass. Going on grass means most of the time you will go to 20 miles per hour, but with the lift kit, you get up to 30. Obviously, there you go, Mezzo. Now this is a probe. Now this is a probe. These are probes. Probes you can buy from the warehouse, but we'll talk about that later. There's more vehicles. There's more vehicles that just kind of have the same. Now this is the Dodge Charger. This is the fastest car in the game, 125 miles per hour. Most people usually get this, and I don't blame them. This is the Ford Expedition XLT. This is the vehicle you'll get if you buy the starter pack, and it'll come with a mesonet, which usually is around 4,500. It's kind of similar, 90 miles per hour, etc. Honda, you got the Civic, Subaru. Yeah, basically all of these are okay. Now, the best part. Let me just watch this. Ooh, look at that, a tornado on the ground. Again, we'll talk about. Sorry about that. We'll talk about all of these in a second. Now, what was I? Okay. Now let's go to the warehouse. The warehouse is the best part. These are all vehicles that can either chase or intercept a tornado. We're gonna start with the first three that can really intercept, that can really just support. Discovery support vehicle. I do not have any of these three personally, but I do have thing. This basically is just a vehicle that gives you around 2 probes, I think, or 3. I don't know. But it's just a support vehicle, 95 and all that jazz. This is the Vortex probe truck. This lets you have 4 probes instead of the standard 2, and it goes 100 miles an hour. And then this is the Doghouse. This is based on the IMAX truck used by the Storm Chaser crew long back in the 2010s. Okay, now we're going on to the Interceptor vehicles. First, you got Dominator 1. This is based off Reed Timmer's Dominator 1, obviously. Now, these two things you need to know. Undeployed threshold and deployed threshold. Undeployed threshold, basically, if you are not deployed, as in you are not dropped down, and winds get above 130 miles per hour, you will go flying. Now, there's a button right here that'll let you deploy. It just drops. Now, this only has airbags. This does not have spikes and airbags. Now, its deployed threshold is 170, meaning it can withstand 170 mile per hour winds. And then there's the TIF one. I don't have this because, in all honesty, it's a waste of money, in my opinion. It looks cool, sure, but it's just a waste. It's basically the same stats, almost. Basically, the only good change is one is an extra mile per gallon. But you get less speed, you get less undeployed threshold, and it's the same deployed threshold. I do not have this personally. Then there's Dominator 2, which again, it's very similar, but $50,000 more. And you get 15 extra miles per hour. It looks like this. It also has airbags. Then there's Dominator 3, which is my primary vehicle. It can withstand winds up to 180 miles per hour, which is the highest that the Dominators can go to. Which is the highest Dominators can go. 200 miles per hour. Oh, my bad. 200 miles per hour, which is the highest they can go. They all have an undeployed of 130. It's 200,000. It comes with airbags and spikes, as you can see here. Airbags. Basically, once you see the spikes, you're fully deployed and you can withstand the 200 mile per hour winds. But until those spikes light up, you're not ready for 200 mile per hour. Then there's the TIV-2. This is basically the penultimate interceptor. This, oops, sorry. It is the A plus interceptor. I don't have it because I'm personally saving up for the Dow, which I'll talk about later. This has 5 extra miles per hour for undeployed, but 20 extra miles 20 extra miles per hour for deployed. This can withstand almost EF 4 to 5 winds. This game works a bit differently with winds. I'll talk about it in a second. It's, however, the one huge drawback with it, the huge drawback that it has, is that it takes forever to deploy. It takes around 30 to 45 seconds for this thing to deploy. It's not worth it. It's not useful unless you're ahead of a tornado and you know it's going to hit you. Okay, last is the Dow. Now, this one's a bit of an enigma, because it's 550,000, and unlike these, it does have it undeployed and deployed, but only 35 miles per hour. It's a radar truck. Now, the Dow has 2 key features. One, if someone spawned a Dow and it is just in the server spawned, radar refresh, which is this little thing, will be chopped down to 5 seconds, which is really helpful because the normal is 10, which is a while for some people. And it's also a money printer because you can scan certain tornadoes if you're not blocked, as in there's an obstruction or something, I'm sorry, blocking your view. You can see if the tornado's going to die, recycle, we'll talk about that later, etc. etc. All that jazz. I know this is going on for a while, but this is basically everything you need to know. And that basically does it. But now we're on to the probes. Now, the probes come in multiple. There's 4 probes. This is $750. I do not know how long it will stand, but it does not have a camera. This is a particularly exclusive camera probe that only comes with a camera, but not really good lens. And it's also 750. This is a camera and an anemometer, and 750. And then there's the Dorothy. Now the Dorothy is special because it costs $1,000, but it gives you much more money. However, it can only be used on dealership vehicles, specifically trucks, and and these vehicles. It cannot be used with these vehicles or the Dow. The Dow cannot hold any probes. Actually, you make most of your money. The probes are basically going to be your number one way of making money because if you put them in the path of a tornado, you're going to make money. With the 2 times Game Pass, it's a lot of money. That basically does it for all the vehicles in this top section. Now, we're going to talk about this. This is a Game Pass. This is the Skywarn Spotter. You have 3 categories, and I want to make sure because I got confused too, but these are all different. And I'll tell you what this. This means that there's a funnel. You can do it. It'll show up on map. See? It'll tell you who issued it and when it was issued. This is Rope Tornado. That is when a tornado is basically in the last stages and or it's really thin. It's just another indicator. This is a Sidewinder. Sidewinder tornadoes are very easy to discover because they are slanted. They are slanted as all heck. And they're not that common, but they're not that rare. Next is the Wedge. These are these are basically the deadliest that tornadoes can get. These are when their entire rotation is larger than its base. And you'll see these a lot. That sometimes they will turn into multi-vortexual tornadoes. These are when a singular tornado turns, it still has rotation, but instead of one funnel, it's multiple funnels that'll appear and disappear and appear and disappear. They come in multiple shapes and odds. There's the standard multi-vortex, which is when the rotation has multiple funnels inside of it. There's satellite tornadoes, when one tornado funnel has another tornado that comes out, that basically comes out from the side and goes into it. That's a satellite that comes sometimes happen. It does not do damage. It's still part of the singular tornado. And then this is your basic tornado. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's a cooldown on all of these. This is your basic tornado, just for anything. This is the damage assessor. These are just some basic damage indicators. Shingles gone, window shattered, roof uplifted, garage blown in, exterior walls, interior walls, slab, and anchor bolt. Basically, it goes from like EF0, EF1, EF2, 3, 4, and like 4 and 5 for these last two. This one is probably the one you're going to see the least, because most of the time they'll just be an EF4 or 5 that'll slab it clean, but they will not show anchor bolts. Anchor bolts are very rare. They do not show up a lot. Then we have hail sizes. These are just standard indicators hail. Hail is going to be, most of the time, it'll be a pink kind of thing that'll appear in the center of the storm. You got your pea, grapefruit. That basically, this is a Game Pass. It is 75 Robux. It's I wouldn't say it's not worth it, but it's just kind of a more of a roleplay tool in my opinion. Okay, now we're gonna move on to radar. Radar is very important because it shows you where the storm is at and where is it going. Obviously, this is going northeast. Now we're gonna start with the legend. Now this the first page basically shows all the types of rain: light, moderate, heavy, very heavy, and intense. Then it'll show the hail. Hail will start from light pink, go to purple, and white. However, that does not. Ooh, oh, we got a pink. We got a pink. That does not mean that if you see hail around a tornado, that's not hail. That is a debris ball. That's when it's picked up so much debris that it shows up on radar. You'll probably see this in a minute. Maybe. I don't know. Sorry, voice crack. This it's a it's a very well indicator that there's a lot of yeah, right there. That is a debris ball. That means a lot of debris just got picked up by the tornado and it is in the rotation. You never will see a hail core around a tornado oh yeah, purple, dark purple. That's causing damage. I might want to go down there and show y'all what the National Weather Service thing will do. Oh, West Iroquois is getting seriously slapped right now. Okay, this right here, this is the TVS or tornado velocity speed, I think. Basically, these will shut up by radar and will show it what its estimate wind speeds are. Rotation, below 80 miles per hour, below 100, below 120, below 140, and above 140. As you can see, this is above 140. Oh, okay. You gotta learn. Okay, real quick. Red polygons are tornado warnings. It'll say here pink, purple polygons are particularly dangerous situation tornado warnings. And there's also the very rare, sorry about that, the pink and black. This will show up around populated areas such as Hazleton. That is a tornado emergency. That's the highest level. National Weather Service. Oh, what the heck? National Weather Service can. There's also the National Weather Service office over here, and players can also give tornado warnings. Another debris ball. Oh my gosh, right through Iroquois. These do not indicate tornado ratings. That has to be damage assessed. These are not the ratings. This is not EF1, not 2, or 3. Please don't make that please don't make that mistake. You will look really dumb saying that. There's actually a loading screen tip that says that as well. And these are just miscellaneous. Lightning, hail core, gas stations, probes, home, and storm shelters. Okay, I'm going to try to drive south. As you see, there's the tornado. It's probably doing some EF4 to 5 levels of damage if it's becoming pink, because that was a purple debris ball. Sorry if y'all can't hear me over the thing. I'm just going to turn it down a bit. Yeah. Now, these are your car controls. There's X, which will basically lock every other player from trying to enter it. There's C, which was cruise control. If you just go to the highest mile you can go. Oh lord, that's gotta suck for West Iroquois. And then there's the headlights, parking, and then flipping. Okay, now we're gonna talk about these. These are markings. It'll show you, like, you base. I just have all of these on because it's just easier. Then there's highlight players. Look at a player, it'll zoom in on them and highlight them. It's very useful if you want to find someone like a friend or something. Okay, this might be a while. I'm so sorry. I don't know editing that well, so this may be a second. So I'll just keep talking. Then there's the measurement tool. The measurement tool will help you like assess like say this entire storm is 5.5 miles long from head to toe. Yeah, that's true. And then there's tornado tracks. You can see which tornadoes hit areas. As you can see, this is known as a tornado recycle. This happens when a tornado appears and then it dies, but then the rotation still appears and might start lowering. It'll recycle a tornado. This is the Doppler on wheels is a very useful tool to detect whether a tornado will recycle because its wind speeds will increase in the rotational sphere.